everyone, welcome to day 16 of our 28 Days of Pilates challenge. For today's session you just need your mat again, take your shoes off and you don't need any other equipment. For today's session, for the next 15 minutes, we're going to work on the shoulder bridge exercise with all its different variations and modifications. It's a really great exercise to mobilize your spine, really good to challenge your core strength and stability, and it really energizes the posterior chain of muscles such as your glutes, your hamstrings, your lumbar extensors and spine extensors. These are not recommended if you are in your second or third trimester of pregnancy. They're not recommended if you've just had a baby in the last 6 weeks and you've had a section. They're also not recommended if you've got osteoporosis or low bone density through the spine. There are certain ways you can modify these ones if you do have osteoporosis, but for this specific 15-minute workout, I would recommend maybe not to do these ones today. Maybe go back and do one of the other ones if you prefer. Okay, so let's get started. We're going to lie on our back. We're going to stay nothing under our head or neck, just head on your mat. We're going to have our knees bent, our feet hip distance apart. Just ensuring that your hips, your knees, your ankles are all in line. We'll relax our arms by our side for now. And we'll just check our Pilates posture before we begin. So we have a slight nod on the chin to lengthen the back of the neck. We've got our collarbones open, nice and wide, shoulder blades gently drawn down at the back. Our rib cage just at rest and relaxed and just minimizing any flare up into the air, and that's quite important for the rest of the bridge variations. So just keep the rib cage down. And then with our pelvis, we want to ensure all the time with these bridge variations that either side of our pelvis remains in line with the other. That's our main focus, is to keep the right and left and right sides of your pelvis in line. Let's begin then and get focused with our breath today. We're going to inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. Inhaling in through the nose and exhale through the mouth. Just letting go of any stress, any tension from today or the last couple of days as you melt into your mat. We'll continue our breathing now, and we're going to move our pelvis. So as we inhale, roll your pelvis forward, arching the low back, and exhale, roll back, imprinting the low back into the mat. So we're inhaling as we roll forward into that anterior tilt. Exhale as we roll back. I'm just going to move my hands out of the way for you to see that. So inhale to roll forward, and exhale to roll back. Try and really localize this to your pelvis, that the neck, the shoulders, the chest doesn't move as you do this. Just the pelvic bone, just the low back. Let's go one more. Inhale to roll forward and exhale to roll back. And then we're going to scoop up from the tailbone first. Let's scoop the tailbone up off the mat, then the low back. Continue that on up from the mid-back all the way up until you're in shoulder bridge position. When you're here, we want to minimize our rib flare as always. So if you can see, we'll just hold this movement for a moment, continue your breath, and just have a quick glance at your posture then. So we want to be in a diagonal line, or more or less, from our shoulders to our hips to our knees. We don't really want our ribs to flare up here or our chest to flare, because that's going to create an arch through the low back, and particularly when we go to the harder levels of the bridge, that's going to be quite uncomfortable on the low back. So let's try and sink our ribs all the time. Keep your ribs connected by our little string to the front of your pelvis, and that's as high as we need to go with our shoulder bridge. Let's inhale at the top now. And on the exhale, we're going to start here in the mid-back, in between the shoulder blades. Let's put those vertebrae down and continue that on all the way back to the mat, to the tailbone. So we'll inhale as we roll forward and repeat. Exhale to start to scoop up from the tailbone, vertebrae by vertebrae, till we reach shoulder bridge. We'll inhale to hold it. And exhale through the mouth as we lower. Inhale at the bottom to roll forward, and exhale to roll back. So we're taking our roll up and down quite slow here. We're making sure that we are doing that vertebrae by vertebrae movement. And don't forget the breath. So with this one, we're really breathing out the whole time. Breathing out to lower now. We just breathe in at the bottom as we roll the pelvis forward again. And then we go back to our breath out again to peel up. So we don't want our spine to lift here as one solid block. We want to lift vertebrae by vertebrae, section by section. Inhaling at the top, exhaling out through the mouth, that long breath on the way back down. And so far you should be finding it's really easy to keep our two hips or the two sides of our pelvis level. We haven't really challenged that so much so far. At the top this time, let's stay up. Make sure the ribs and pelvis are connecting. We're going to reach our hands to shoulder height and turn your palms to face your thighs. Maintaining this position, exhale through the mouth as we reach the arms overhead. Inhale to return. Exhale and inhale. Exhale and inhale. Keeping our elbows straight, our wrists straight. And here now, if you like, you can give your bum muscles a little squeeze, the glutes. They're working anyway, but if you want, give them a little squeeze. Let's think about engaging a little through our hamstrings as well. And if you like, just switch on ever so slightly through your pelvic floor. Don't overdo any of those contractions because those muscles are working anyway. Last two. Just ensuring as the arms reach overhead, the rib cage stays where it is. And then we'll lower back down. Vertebrae by vertebrae by vertebrae. We'll keep our hands in the air. Inhale to roll forward. Exhale to roll back. And let's peel on up again. When we're up this time, we're going to stay here. Think about the ribs again, pelvis level, hands in the air. I'm going to do some hip dips here now. Keeping the knees where they are, let's dip the right hip down as if you're going to touch your bum off the mat. And squeeze the glute, exhale to push back up. Let's do the left. Dip down and push back up. Swap right side and lift. Left side and lift. We're inhaling as we dip, exhaling as we lift. Working the tops of our hamstrings as we push the hip back up into extension one at a time. If you can see with this, as I dip down, I don't really want my knees to fall out of line. I don't want my upper body to move. So sometimes you might feel as you dip, the knee opens out. Try and keep the knee exactly where it is as you dip down. It's a lovely mobilization also for our spine. So as you dip your hip, your spine's getting that little rotation as well, particularly the lumbar area, the low back. Hopefully starting to feel your glutes and hamstrings really switching on now. Dip and lift. Dip and lift. One more. Dip and lift. Let's hold. And as you exhale, we're going to lower the vertebrae all the way down, bone by bone by bone, back to the ground. Let's turn our palms to face each other. Open the arms out. Before we continue, we're going to roll our knees to the right just to get a little stretch now, a little rest. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth as we go to the other side. Inhale through the nose. And exhale to the other side. Exhaling into our hip twist, keeping the legs apart here. Keeping your upper body still, arms open, palms facing the ceiling. And we'll end up back where we started from. We'll drop our hands back by our side again. Let's continue with some other levels of the shoulder bridge. We'll inhale as the pelvis rolls forward. Exhale as it rolls back. And peel on up to shoulder bridge position. We're going to stay here. We're going to sink the ribs. Let's now maybe place our hands either side of our pelvis for some feedback. And we want to ensure that both sides stay level. We'll inhale to prepare. On your exhale, we're going to extend the right leg into a nice long lever and then come back in. And stay on that same side. Exhaling as we extend, inhaling to bend. Continue again. Exhale to extend, inhale to bend. Keep going on that side, taking your time. Hands on the hip bones to give you some feedback. And if you find, as one leg lifts, if you find you do end up dipping and dropping like that, now that's a bit extreme, but just to show you, then in between each one, just push back up, get back into that nice shoulder break position, and then go again. If that's too intense for you, we can shorten the lever and instead go to tabletop. It's a very similar movement, but the lever is a little bit shorter. Let's do one more on this side. Well done. We'll stay up, let's stay level, relaxing the ribs. Remember, not allowing them to pop up, otherwise this is all going to be felt in the low back. Let's think about engaging a little through our center again, through our pelvic floor. Even give the glutes a little squeeze and imagine this corset of muscle all around here working hard, which it is, and off we go. And down. Exhale as you extend. Inhale as you bend. Exhale to extend. Inhale to bend. Keep going, guys, on that one side. If you feel it's too intense, remember, go to your shorter lever. Or again, if it's too intense, keep both feet on the ground and come back to your lift and lower with good control. Don't stop, whatever you're doing, do one of the variations that suits you and keep moving. Level 1, level 2, a tabletop with the short lever, or level 3. We'll all keep both feet on the mat now, and let's roll back down. And we'll head into our last variation. Let's roll the pelvis forward. We're going to come all the way back and peel up into the air. So we're going to progress to one last level. If you found the longer lever okay, you know you're good to progress. If you found it challenging, then stay as you were. Rib cage down, pelvis level. Switching on all those muscles around the waist, which are working anyways. Let's extend that long lever. If you're doing that one, stay there, bend back in. If not, let's lift our lever up, flex the ankle, and lower back to this starting point. Point the toes, lift, flex, and drop. We're just going to do one more. Point the toes, lift, flex, and drop. And let's all put both feet back on the mat. Let's reposition into our lovely Pilates posture and go for 3 reps on the other side. Whichever level you pick, off we go. Extend, let's lift, flex, and drop. Keep the pelvis level, the thighs level. Lift, flex, and drop. One more. Point, lift, flex, and drop. We'll put both feet back on the mat. And now let's lower all the way back to the floor. When we're back in this position, we're going to hug both knees into the chest, just allowing your low back to melt into the floor now. And let's relax and focus back on our breath again. Just give the low back muscles that worked hard there a little stretch. Give the bum muscles a little stretch. Breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. We'll drop one foot back to the mat. Let's drop the other foot, and we're going to leave it there for today. Well done, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks a million.